as you embark on your many years of natural learning, you'll undoubtedly find yourself in some arguments. So Emma, I thought I'd share my expertly refined tips on how to win an argument with Isaac. As you already know well, Isaac will never publicly accept that he's wrong. Some in this very room may claim it to be a genetically inherited Graham male trait. It's important to understand that to Isaac, volume and quantity of words are the only things that count. It doesn't matter if you're the world's leading expert on a subject, Isaac will still argue that he's right. One of my personal favourite pastimes as his elder sibling has been debating Isaac on a myriad of issues. Everything from feminism to politics to the best way to cook pasta. And the rest of our family are well versed at this stage in our sparring matches and know to just grab the popcorn and settle in for the show once it begins. But Emma, here's the secret. The more frazzled that Isaac gets, the closer you are to victory. Just maintain your calm composure, keep poking holes in his logic, of which there will be many, and watch the steam start to build as his forehead wrinkles deepen. He also has a tendency to throw in long words completely out of context. Like the time he randomly dropped Crockenbush into a high school English exam after learning it on MasterChef. Now, this is a good sign because it means that he's using his mental capacity on sounding smart rather than the argument itself. And Emma, when it comes to arguments or competitions in general, you only need to remember one very important fact, which is you've already beaten him on the ultimate test. We will never forget the time that Isaac made you take an IQ test together to prove his intellectual superiority, only to have you completely take him out blazing. Now, that's something that you can and absolutely should hold over him for every argument for the rest of your lives. Now, secondly, Emma, and I hope this piece of advice isn't too late after your wedding photos, but in what comes as a surprise to absolutely nobody here this evening, Isaac was born ready for the spotlight, and he's never met a mirror or a camera that he hasn't loved. In fact, the wedding photo shoot this afternoon isn't Isaac's first time in front of a professional photographer. Several years ago, as our sister Hannah was finalising her fashion studies, Isaac very enthusiastically took on the role of fashion model for her avant-garde Zoolander-inspired magazine feature entitled That Hansel, The Return of So Hot. He was, of course, dressed as the flamboyant and exuberant Hansel from the film Zoolander. And you bet did Isaac nail those iconic blonde waves and pouts. But his modelling career didn't end there, as his confidence in front of the camera only grew further. Along came the Charles Sturt University Vet Student Calendar, which saw Isaac go stark naked with nothing but his poor dog Ralph and a strategically placed akubra between the camera and his crown jewels. According to Isaac, this was for charity, of course, but let's be honest, we know that he just wanted any excuse to get his kid off. So, Emma, the advice here is don't be afraid to push Isaac out of the spotlight occasionally. And please, on behalf of all of us, do encourage him to put some more clothes on. Oh, and don't worry, I do have all of the aforementioned photos saved at the top of my camera roll tonight, so please do come and find me for your personal viewing pleasure later. Now, my final word of advice is don't let Isaac convince you of girls' jobs and boys' jobs. Isaac would hate you all knowing this, but he's actually been practicing as an undercover domestic goddess for many years now. It was impossible to grow up in the Graham household without some of our mother's impressive sewing skills rubbing off on us. And for Isaac, this came in a variety of forms, ranging from long stitches to tapestries to an applique Toy Story wall hanging. But my personal favourite was his dedication to sewing miniature clothing and bed sheets for his Action Man doll, very creatively named John. Now, John lived in a bed made from a shoebox, and it's safe to say that John was the most comfortable and well-dressed male doll in Lismore. But beyond handicrafts, Isaac is actually also a very talented cook. Again, coming back to his competitive streak, Isaac sought to prove his superiority by entering into the ultimate test of culinary excellence, the Lismore Show's packet cake baking competition. Over the course of one very stressful evening, Isaac baked his way through at least 4 packet butter cakes, striving for the perfect symmetrical rise and golden top to impress the renowned CWA judges. It was high stakes after all. The first prize was a very lucrative $2 coin. These days, Isaac has progressed his cooking skills, even trying his hand at a croquembouche recently. But Emma, as you're already aware, it is best to avoid being within a 20-metre radius of the kitchen when Isaac is cooking. He does tend to get quite intensely focused on his art, which means he turns into a younger and better-looking version of Gordon Ramsay, explosive warning label included. So, Emma, do enjoy the fruits of Isaac's labour, but let him do the labour away.
All right. I'm very excited to see the hands will lose later when you're staring at the camera. Yeah, I want to see it. Very creative. Anyway, now we have heard from Bonnie the wonders of being a sibling, the sheer magnitude of